他在哪儿？我的过去到哪儿去了？那时候我年轻、快活、聪明。那时候我有梦想，我的思想优美。那时候我的现在和未来闪耀着希望之光。
鳥の声は美しいな。
如果能够成为不被别人害怕的鬼魂，那是多么美好的一件事。
お化けみたいに怖がられないっていいね。
兰，你会不会恨我？20年了，我没有去见过你，你会生气吗？
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Wang Changsong from Xiamen University, Malaysia, and I'm one of the programmer for MIFFest 2020 this year. Today is my honor to host this session along with all the crew members of Mula, and definitely with the director of the film of Mula. With me, we have Malu. And we have Edmund, we have MayJune, Lynn, and also Sherlyn. So we will have all these wonderful crew members to do these sharing sessions along with us. And of course, if you have any questions or any feedback you want to interact with all of us, you can just write your comments anytime. So I will just read out your questions, and I think this is really good opportunities for fans of the movie to interact with our crew members and film directors. And for today, I will have actually 3 dimensions to discuss this film along with our wonderful crew member. And of course, these 3 dimensions will include acting and performance, directing, and also scenario and also theme. So first of all, please allow me to ask questions to all these actresses for Malu. And especially for MayJune, because she is the one play an important role for this production as a producer. At the same time, she is also the main cast. How will you handle your job at the same time? And what kind of experience you taking 2 responsibilities as a producer and also actress for this movie?
Hi, everyone in Facebook. I'm MayJune. And well, it was quite hard for me for being as a first-time producer. And of course, I started from scratch. But however, I do have Edmund guiding me along, and also a blind producer. His name is TK, and they are both my good friends. And then they both are guiding me along the way. And of course, Edmund was the one who encouraged me to become a producer. And I do agree with that, because I think for acting for more than 10 years after that, I think I should do something different in filmmaking. So I agree with that, and then I said, yes, I want to do something different. And of course, being an actress, we are always in a very submissive. We are very passive. We're always waiting for jobs instead of we can actually initiate something. And also we hardly can speak for ourselves. We can't even say our own story. So that's why I agree with that, and then say yes, I want to take the opportunity to become a producer. And of course it was very hard for me, and I had a lot to worry about, because I do not want the project to fall apart. And then, but however, yes, really thank God that I have Edmund, I have line producer, very passionate team, and then of course we found very good actors. So that's why I'm very happy with the project. And of course, for me, the hardest part was actually to focus on in my character, because it was quite a complex one, I would say, because she is very cold. She is very suppressive in emotions, but and yet she is an oppressive one. So I think it requires a lot of concentrations. So for me, it was hard to actually find myself crystal clear in what I am doing now, whether I'm on or off the screen. So, but however, I'm very happy with the project, because after that, after we shot some footages in Malaysia, the second phase we went to Hokkaido, and it was a very fun journey, I would say, because with the very tight budget, we can only bring along 5 person together. But however, it was an adventure to me, and it was quite an experience to me. And then after that, with all the shots we have, and we brought along Kong. Kong is our DOP from Thai, and he shot. I mean, these two. I mean, Edmund and Kong. They are good matches. I mean, the shots were very impressive, and with all the shots that we have, the footages we have, Edmund was able to connect us with the Japanese, and yeah, so I'm very happy with it, and yeah, it was a fun journey. Yes. Yep.
Edmund produced a lot of films in Japan, and also he has educational background in Japan, so that's why he can definitely communicate with the Japanese crew and also talents over there. But maybe I can leave some questions to Edmund later. But I wish to discuss some more with another actress for this movie, Lynn and also Sherlyn. And how do you feel at the first moment when you see the script? How will you perceive the story, and what will you position yourself to act this role? Maybe we can start from Lynn. You are the mother in the movie, right?
Yes. Hi everyone. First of all, I would like to thank MayJune and Edmund for giving me this chance to play this role. When MayJune first called me, I was like quite surprised, and I asked, "Are you sure? Are you serious?" And then MayJune was telling me, "Why don't you read the script first?" And then I got the script and I read it, and I immediately accepted it, because after reading the script, I was so amazed by how the spatial and temporal crisscrossing storyline was like beautifully crafted by the director, and especially when the mother and the two daughters are existing in different spaces and time at the same time. It's very beautifully written and crafted, and the role of the mother is very attracting and yet very challenging. It was a sad character. She was abandoned by the husband, and she has to raise 2 kids on her own. She's angry, she's feeling hopeless, and at the same time she's having this mentally ill. So there is a moment her bringing along her children to commit suicide. It shows that how twisted her mindset is, because she wanted to bring the 2 children along to go and kill themselves, so that it shows she actually loved that 2 children, to make these 2 daughter knows that they wouldn't feel abandoned because the husband left her. She feel very, very empty and angry at the same time. So when she couldn't take the situation, so she wanted to commit suicide, but she bring along her kids. This shows that how twisted her mindset is. And this character, she's very, very different from me as a mother of two. I'm a mother of two as well. So I don't think I will do that to my children. But after reading the whole story, it was like I feel sad because this show how tragic and the dark side of some family is now happening in any corner in this world. So yeah, that is why I'm so attracted to this character and role, and I say yes.
I think definitely it's challenging because this is something maybe not within our ordinary setting as everybody experience, but there are people experience life like that. We just not maybe
Yes.
give them chances and power to talk, to illustrate their life. And I think the same goes to Sherlyn. You're pretty young, and how will you handle these kind of situations? And you are actually the, I can say is like a success of this kind of emotion，就是好像这种情绪的延续者。So if you wish to elaborate, how will you perceive the script at the first moment, and how will you act your role?
不好意思，我用华语来回答。
可以。
其实我第一次接触到马路这个类型的剧本的时候，对我来说是很新鲜的，然后也是很有挑战。因为其实一开始我接到剧本的时候，我心里有很多的疑问的，我有很多那种前因后果，我很在意前因后果，因为之前可能是比较习惯演电视剧。所以电视剧通常都是为了连续而连续嘛，所以有很多剧情啊都会好像已经铺排好，然后可能动机也会写得很清楚之类的，台词也会很多，所以很多时候你可能读剧本的时候，你就可以在台词里面找到很多一些线索啊，或者是人物的思想脉络之类的。可是我觉得马路它是比较不一样，它是比较有深度一点的剧本，它可以有给你很多思考的空间，然后它对白不多，然后很多时候是需要我们演员去以情绪去表达这样子，所以可能第一次我看剧本的时候是不能够完全看懂的，可能是需要看多几遍才能摸清楚那个情节线索之类的，所以我觉得它是一个比较能够让你有思考空间的剧本。然后我记得一开始接到第一个 script 的时候是还没有完整的，就是后面的那个部分还没有写。是吗？对，就是前面就是在马来西亚的时候，我们就是前半段的故事就是先演好它这样子，所以你不会知道说后面发生什么事。我觉得是蛮有趣，然后对我来说蛮新鲜的一个体验。拍这部戏，对。
Maybe I can just translate some part of your explanations.
Okay.
And the script is quite deep for you at the first moment when you receive the script. And it definitely is a challenging role for you to act because usually you act in TV series, and this script does not have a very lengthy and very complicated conversations. All this storytelling relies on the expressions of emotions, behavior, and act. So that's why it is much more challenging than the TV series that you involve in local production. And of course, when you involve this production, you receive the first half of your script, which actually take place in Malaysia, and it will give you uncertainties probably. So that's why you have more expectations towards the script in Japan, the place you have another second half to play the role. Edmund is like agree with me. Okay, that's good, which means I get your point, right? Anyhow, I just want to maybe since we talk about Japan, I think it's very necessary for us to, if you watch the film, you definitely understand that this film not only take place in Malaysia, but also take place in Japan, and especially in Hokkaido, as MayJune already mentioned. So I wish all these three actors to share your experience in this co-production in Japan. I'm not quite sure whether this is the first time to involve with co-production, or this is your second time or even more time to involve with co-production, because I witnessed that Malaysia does embrace co-production a lot, and with Japan or other countries nearby, we have like Indonesia, Thailand, we have these kind of co-productions. And how will you experience this kind of co-production in this film? Maybe we can start from MayJune.
I think only me and Sherlyn and Edmund can answer this question.
Oh yes, only because
So,
mother is not actually went there. I'm sorry. Yeah, only Lan and Hong
yes.
went to Hokkaido.
Hokkaido and also in Tokyo as well, and Yokohama as well. And it was a very magical journey, as you can see from what you can see in Malu itself. It's a very dreamlike journey to me, and I find it very fun to work with the Japanese. And of course, working with Malaysian, I love them too, both Japanese and Malaysians. But we actually work very differently. As we know that Japanese in general, they are fundamentalists. In general, they are very disciplined. They follow orders strictly and work things precisely. And so that is something that I should learn from. I think we should be very disciplined in no matter working in with whom, and also that makes things runs very smoothly and also efficiently, I would say. So, but however, working with Malaysians is very different because we are more flexible and we have different plans and we always come out with impromptu ideas, and that is something that is, I think it's a good thing as well. So I find very happy and it was fun working with the Japanese.
All right, I think you have chances to act with Masatoshi and also Kiko, right? And these two actor and actress are very quite well known in Japan. And how do you see this kind of differences? Let's say call it like a celebrity system or like a film industry system. How will you perceive the differences when you work together with them?
I think both of them, they are very good people. And for Nagase's son, he is totally a gentleman, I would say. And I think most women will fall in love with him when you first see him, because he is such a gentleman, and the work ethic. As I said, they are very disciplined, and then we always see him very professionally, staying focused, and then trying to discuss a lot of things with Edmund. So you can see actually they are actually creating something new on set. So there are a lot of discussion all the way when we are doing the filming. And then also for Kiko, she is quite contradicting with what I've perceived from all from her posters, from all her works, from the pictures. She is kind of wild to me. She is a wild person, from what I've perceived. But she is actually a very soft spoken, very kawaii, I would say. And then she is very quiet on set and keeps very focused. And that is what I think I should learn from. Both of them are very nice.
Yeah, thank you very much, MayJune, for sharing. How about Sherlyn？ 你跟日本演员的这个戏份还是挺多的，尤其是和这个男主角的互动，跟他的情感的演绎还蛮多的。当然 ，Kiko 的这个戏份的部分，我们有一些也不太清楚他和他的关系是什么，但他们感觉是一个室友还是什么。我觉得你可以通过你的感受去谈谈你在这部电影当中，去体验一种合拍片。那合拍片给你带来的一种体验又是什么？
这是我第一次就是去到日本拍摄，然后也是第一次接触日本的团队。我觉得整个制作方面都很认真，然后每个细节他们都很讲究，就是可以看就是我觉得他们刻苦耐劳的精神很值得我们去学习。然后我觉得他们的工作效率也是很快。我记得有一场戏是导演突然间就是有需要到一个道具照，就是我在日本的生活的道具照，然后他们就在半个小时就弄出来的，就是效率我会觉得真的是很快很快，然后就是真的是大家都是在做自己喜欢做的事情，然后可以看得出是大家都非常有热忱，然后我觉得对我来说是一个很好的经验。
其实我也发现，就是在有一幕戏，就是在墙上会有很多照片
啊，对对对，就是那几张照片，
对，这张照片很有可能就是很 effectively 完成的。Okay, try to translate some of the point for Sherlyn, and she said that she was impressed by the way the Japanese actor and actress work together with them. And they were very hardworking, they're very concentrating, and they are very effective as well. There's one particular scene in which involved one props, and the prop is actually photographed reflecting the daily life in Japan. So they just complete all these props in half an hour, and that's quite impressive. And that's something very inspired me as well for the first time to acting a film in Japan. 还有什么其他的一些特别的经历可以跟我们分享吗？我发现你们有拍到雪景，是不是很惊喜？当时拍到雪景的时候，
其实一开始的就是说真的有去日本拍摄的时候，真的是觉得很期待也很兴奋。然后那个时候也是我第一次去Hokkaido，然后那时候是像刚刚MayJune说的，是只有我们5个人，就是过去那里，可能对MayJune来讲说，他可能是觉得说会亏待我，或者觉得说那段期间是很辛苦的。可是对我来说，我是觉得说这个是一个很棒的经验，很棒的体验，因为我可以去看一些不同国家的文化，去到那边拍摄，体验不同的东西，对我来说是一个很好的一个体验。对对对。
It's more like a transcultural experience for you when you have chances to experience the authentic settings, and in terms of maybe your personal life and also career, you have all these valuable experience in Japan, right? So I can conclude. Okay, thank you very much for this wonderful sharings about your experience at Japan. But of course, as a director, you are managing very wonderful poetic style film. I would say it's a poetic style, although sometimes we highlight the narrative and also storytelling is also an important foundation of a film. And I just want to talk about some of the message and thematic concerns that you want to convey throughout the film. And first of all, do you have, because this film involves a lot of nationalities, like MayJune already mentioned, you have DOP from Thailand, and I also noticed you have editor from France, who is actually Tina, right? Yeah, it's a Tina. Tina is actually sorry, he's not. Yeah, he's editor, and also you definitely play the role as editor as usual. But this time you have somebody else to help you to edit the film. At the same time, you have a sound design who is also prize-winning sound designer, which I love very much because of the sound throughout the movie is very impressive. I enjoy it so much. And that's why, back to the topic, what kind of a message of a cosmopolitanism that you want to convey? Because you involve so many nationalities, is there anything like what I described is more like a cosmopolitanism? Do you have any particular message or intentions of that?
I mean, I always believe that when it comes to filmmaking, it transcends national barriers. So even though we are telling a story of Malaysia and Japan, I always feel that, you know, we should be finding the best people with different perspectives to collaborate. You know, so I think that the interesting thing about Malu is that the fact that we, as creators, we could pull in our talent and our worldview and our culture and our upbringing into the story. You know, so we could see that. For example, like Hong, my long-time Thai cinematographer, like the way he shoots everyday Malaysian life is so different from what you usually see, because he comes in as an outsider. You know, so there's some opportunity and distance he had, like when it comes to shooting my film. And it's the same like when we had Tina, who's French, to edit the film. She brings in this sensitivity and musicality. You know, so she's tried to maintain the emotions and the rhythm of the film, and showing that it's universal. Like, even though it's a story in Malaysia, it's a story in Japan, but it can be understood by you know, audiences from around the world. So I think that that's something that I always liked. Perhaps being out of the country for more than a decade, like throughout my 20s, that might sort of influence my worldview. Like the fact that, you know, I was in Australia and then I was in Japan, like throughout my 20s. I came back to Malaysia a bit, but I felt that, you know, it's beautiful to work with people from different backgrounds and cultures, because they bring in so many different things like into this this project, and so that's the beauty of filmmaking.
Yeah, I think this is a most amazing experience when we involve different nationalities to work together, and that's the dream that we have together, and we have it, make it real. And when you achieve it, it's something that we should be proud to become like a global citizen. as a filmmaker. So this is something very amazing, I could say that. But at the same time, I also noticed that you have your own signature all the time in filmmaking. Would you just tell us what particular signature you place in Malu again?
I don't know. I'm not a very I'm very instinctive when it comes to filmmaking. Like I don't really like plan to put my signature into the film. Basically, I'm just serving the story, serving the characters, serving the story as a filmmaker, as a dramatist. So I think, of course, I have a particular skill set, a toolbox that I have that's been with me like the past more than 10 years of filmmaking. So because most of the films that I've made have been so personal and it came so much from myself that even though I don't consciously put in my signature, I'm sure there would be traces of myself like in the film, you know. So maybe that's the signature that you were talking about, yeah.
Yeah, definitely in terms of a thematic, in terms of a style, in terms of the way you tell the story, you do have your style, you do have your own preferences, you do have your own way to do so. So that's why we actually could see that. So the reason actually I talk about the signature is actually want to position you as the author of the film, because we are clarifying that we want to position ourselves in the film production process, which is different from the traditional genre setting. Look, I'm just very traditional one. I want to produce a horror, I want to produce drama, but your one is actually break all these codes of genre, and this is the reason why I say that you have your own signature. That's why, as a scholar who observe your works, I could see that clearly, and that's actually definitely confirmed that you are one of the film directors in Malaysia position yourself as an author director, and that's why I want to further elaborate as a director, because perhaps maybe MayJune can add as well, because we always produce film to cater the demands, also maybe desire that we have, because we want to accomplish this, because I have something in my mind, I want to do it. But when you're back to the screening, back to the marketing, what kind of audiences you are targeting, or what kind of audiences you want to convince them to go to support the film?
Okay.
Difficult question, I guess.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, I wish we did go through this whole thing like with a business strategy in place, but not really. What we just started out like wanting to make a good film, you know, a film that's honest to our own feelings. You know. So no, I didn't really do it for myself. Of course, there is some artistic fulfillment involved in making this film, but at the same time, I always sincerely believe that if we are honest with the film that we are making, with this, there will be audiences that we can touch. You know, you know, ultimately, film is a machine of empathy, and I feel that like if you can empathize with the characters who appear throughout the film, you know, if you go along with this journey, regardless of genre, regardless of you know, I think you will feel something for this film. I'm not gonna say 100%. Everyone's gonna feel it. I know the type of film that we make, it's not for everyone. You know, but I do feel that we should, as storytellers, we should push boundaries and not like underestimate the intelligence of our audiences. I mean, the past 1 week had been. The past 2 weeks, since movie had been online, since Malu had been online on movie, I've been getting a lot of very colorful, interesting feedback. Of course, there were people who didn't like it. That's inevitable. But the people who liked it and the comments that I got, they were highly not what I expected. There were so many different interpretations of the ending. There were people who had not been watching films that much, but they felt so strongly for the film that even I myself was surprised that you know, I didn't even expect them to watch the film. You know, so once again, I want to thank my friends and you know, to the many viewers who had been contacting us the past 2 weeks. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. MayJune, as a producer, you definitely have to take certain levels of responsibilities of screening and marketing wise. How do you see this from your point?
Well, actually, to be honest, I have similar thoughts with Edmund. We just want to do it honestly. We just want to convey the story.
Wonderful.
Yes, and to add on, actually, I wanted to say there are some feedbacks and there are comments about Edmund might have intentionally added some elements so that the film can make it to the film festivals, which I think I quite disagree with that because I don't think Edmund added those elements into the film to make it intentionally to make it to the film festivals because as Edmund has said in our previous discussion, there isn't any formula, but it is just to sincerely tell a story. So that's what I wanted to add on.
Yeah, it's
And
actually
also,
this is definitely essential of any film because we want to tell the stories. We want to tell something to the audiences,
Yes.
and definitely people can take away something from the film production as well. But when
Yes.
I ask the questions, I think people were stimulated by the question. I have several questions in the comment bar by our audience. I noticed one of them is from our local actress, Lynn MayJune. She's asking about the budget of making the film. And maybe some of you guys can tell, or maybe it is okay for you guys to share this information.
I think it's PNC, but the budget is way lower than you expect. I think it's less than ringgit 1 million, maybe. What was it? Yeah, definitely it's less than 1 million ringgit. So even though we travel a lot, but it's not as expensive as you think it is. But we try our best. We try our best to maximize what we see on screen. So I think So that's my answer.
All right.
Yeah.
I get it. It's always confidential in terms of production cost.
But I can assure you it's less than 1 million ringgit. In fact, it's way lower.
They're always official numbers.
Yeah. So it's way lower than what you expect. Yeah.
I definitely have to apologize first because just now when I start these sharing sessions, I wrongly pronounced the title of the film. I even said it Mula. It's actually Malu. Because I'm a foreigner, I'm originally from mainland China. So Malu for me is something I couldn't understand fully, and I also searched the title. Malu does have some existing title, but not maybe in Malaysia. There's some other country do produce film with the same title with Malu. And how will you interpret the meaning and what represent? The name itself.
Okay, so Malu in Malay means shame. So that's actually what it means. That's the title of the film. Like, we wanted to make a film that revolves around the theme of shame. And I think shame is something that lingered within each and every one of the main characters of the film. So Malu is shame. Of course, we have very different Japanese and Chinese titles. But do I
okay.
explain that?
But Chinese title, I think Chinese title is much more meaningful. 无马之日. That title is much more meaningful for me. Would you please elaborate the title for us in Chinese?
Okay, of course, 无马之日, the Chinese title literally means like a day without horses, a horseless day. A novelist friend of mine came up with this idea. He's also from China, so I thought it was a very evocative and title because there's this feeling of desolation and loneliness, like a day without horses. Wow, But also there are multiple meanings to it. If you know Chinese, you would know that like the word for day, 日, is also the word used for 日本, and 无马, the horse, is also used for Malaysia or Malaysian. So it could also mean Japan without Malaysians. So I think it's like the film itself. It's a title which allowed many of us to imagine.
That's why the title itself is really attractive. When I watch this, I have the same interpretations as you did just now, because you take the film in two locations, one in Malaysia and especially in the village, which produce these dry shrimps, and I even know where it is. But anyhow, you also did the film in Japan. But for us, as a people who study film, we do look at the meaning and importances of a national spatial meaning which means in this particular setting, it does certain meaning along with the other. So how will you interpret these two national special meaning in your film?
I think if you look at it deeply, Lan is a good representation of a Malaysian, because for generations, many of us Malaysian Chinese had been migrating out of the country for a different life, perhaps for better opportunities, for work, etc., etc. So that's Lan, and there's always this yearning, this constant yearning to leave the country for different life. And what happens after you leave the country? Do you eliminate your past? Do you pretend that you are someone else? Is that so? I think it's really an issue of identity. So that's the thing about what I wanted to explore in this film.
Maybe I can just give some chances to our actress to also respond to the similar question. When you first get the script and anime, from your point of view, for Lan and Hong, because these two characters have two sets to act accordingly, one in Malaysia and one in Japan. Do you bring the same emotion from one to the other, or do you want something different in two different locations, and why does this happen? MayJune, can you just share us with first?
To me, it's more for Hong, I think. She is more into refusing to reveal her own past, and then she is always escaping, and that is her choice, to refuse her past in denial. And that's why when she was in Japan, it's all about escapism to her. And then and when I first read the story, I think I find a lot of similarities with Hong, because I myself, I am a rebellious daughter in my family. And I found that I always do not know how to communicate with my family. And then at some point, of course, I felt regret, and also I felt I want to reconcile with my family. So that's why I find it very fascinating when I first received the story itself. And for the past years, that I've discovered that we always carrying what our parents inherit. And probably we are reflecting our grandparents and our older generations, and unconsciously. So I thought, yes, this is something that I want to explore. And then I found the answer is that we are similar to our family. Why the hatred? So that is the message that in Malu itself is so important, that I want to deliver to the audience, that I hope that they can feel sympathy towards the character, and also to find ways to reconcile with the friends and their family.
Yes, it is a very strong message when parents have even obstacles to communicate with the kids, or even kids has the same obstacles to communicate with parents, especially when they have this kind of a mental or even psychological struggles. It becomes worse and worse. It pushes it become some of the tragedies like Sherlyn experienced in this role, because I think she experienced a lot in two settings. In Malaysia setting, she is so depressed, she's even speechless, she has no voices. But when she speak a lot in Japan. She doesn't speak to the people who she really love, maybe, but she just speaks to the one who is a foreigner to her. So Sherlyn, how you see this kind of geographic or spatial setting， 就是地区或者这种空间上的这种差异，对于你演绎这个人物会有一些不一样的处理手法吗？
在蓝前期的时候，都是只有跟妈妈一起相处嘛，然后他也是有一个负担，就是要照顾他病重的一个妈妈。然后去到日本的话，其实他妈妈都已经过世了，其实他就是想要去日本过一个新的生活，可是可能之前小时候童年发生过的一些痛苦的经历，他其实 都无法忘记的。然后在马来西亚的部分呢，其实之前可能对我来说，那时候我还很新，我没有太多的演戏经验，所以我很多时候都是以当下的当下的感受去表现出来，然后就是可能演的时候没有太多的杂念，都是当下的一些感受，然后可能就是在导演的指导下，我就凭感觉的去演，然后也是要感谢导演的信任，所以我可以在这部戏里面很自在、很真实的去展现我自己。对对对。
Edmund, since Sherlyn mentioned you, I think you are a better person to translate what she said.
She was talking about Lan at the beginning. I mean, it's pretty much we are talking about Lan's character. Like in the first half of the film, like she's so oppressed that she can't. I mean, she had to deal with a lot of things. Like she had to look after her mom. You know, pretty much it was an emotional abuse. And even when mom died, and when she reunited with her long lost sister, like she spent the whole time like not even saying a single word to her sister, like to the point where even audiences might wonder like is she mute or you know? But of course, in the second half, like you could see like Lan totally transform into a different person. Like
yes.
Perhaps being in Japan, she could assume other identities. So she became like. She talked way more, you know, she was using different accents with different people. You know, I think she had this sort of freedom that she never had in Malaysia. But of course, gradually we know that you can never run away from your past. So yeah, so when Sherlyn, because there was a 1 year gap between the two segments that we shot. So we shot the Malaysian part. Then we waited like more than a year before we continued shooting in Tokyo. So definitely, like when we were shooting the first half, Sherlyn was less experienced. But at the same time, I think that was also I do like working with less experienced actors because they don't have habits that they so they don't have habits. So it makes them more instinctive and more. They won't feel like, okay, when I cry I must do this, when I laugh I must do this. So they are not limited by these limitations, So that was the thing about Sherlyn. Like when it started out, she was all like instinctive. It's all based on instinct, but I thought it was fun. I think she, just like Lynn and as well, they brought in a lot of themselves into the character. So 1 year later, of course, like Sherlyn had gathered a bit more acting experiences, so she could do a bit more with her character, like when we shot in Japan.
Yes, actually, when you talk about this, I could interpret so many meanings, but I don't know. I don't want to explain here in detail because it can be a little bit sensitive. Because when you talk about these speechless and also empowered to the character to speech in another physical setting, it can be interpreted differently. So maybe we'll just stop here, but definitely audiences may get the meaning I try to tell you, and also same goes to directors. But Lynn is actually another very important character in the film, as Edmund just mentioned, because the mother is a very important role in the family. But the mother is something very against our conventional perceptions of mother characters in other films. This mother is, in the beginning, just want to bring the two kids to commit suicide together. And she expressed too many emotions that touches audiences. I believe Sherlyn also will be touched when the mother is like such aggressive, such emotional, and Sherlyn has to act so naturally and calm. And I just want to ask maybe Lynn as the mother characters, how will you handle your actings in this setting when you have this kind of a level of aggressive or level for expressions to an extreme level, and how will you handle this?
Well, I have to be sincere and be frank that this role is quite exhausting. I don't have very much experience in acting, but this is what I think Edmund mentioned. He likes actors or actresses that has less experience in acting. I think that's the only reason he chosen me. So
Edmund, you can defend for that if you want.
I have to say that it's very tiring and very exhausting. And after every scene that we have taken, normally I just sit down there and it's very draining, especially when the mother is sick. But at the same time, the director is giving me lots of freedom to act whatever that I feel comfortable. So most of the time, I did spend some time and talking to Edmund. It's like, what kind of sickness she has, at the end of my part. And, Edmund is like, what do you think? He chose like the question to me. So I did spend a lot of time of thinking how to create that kind of emotion of being very aggressive and at the same time very cold to the children. And because of the hatred, of the anger and the emptiness in her life, and she's throwing all the tantrum or all the frustration to the youngest daughter especially. So I don't know, most of the time I just do what I feel like, and especially when she's like crying, I just let go all my emotions out until the director tell me to stop, then I stop. But funny part is he doesn't really tell me what to do. He just let me do whatever I feel like, and until the end he would just say, okay, thank you, let's move on. Then I have so many questions in my mind. It's like, I ask him back, or I ask MayJune, 就这样子吗？真的可以吗？ Then MayJune say, 导演说可以就可以啦. I was like, okay, all right. So almost after every scene, I left lots of uncertainties behind until, sometimes I do message Edmund and ask him, hey, how is it going? Because I didn't get a chance to go to Japan. That's one of the... I wish I could be in Hokkaido. But, it's something that I think is a once of a lifetime experience. And I should say that 它开启了我接下来很想要演这类型电影的那种欲望，因为它好像打开了我心里面的另外一扇的那个想要演的欲望。
Yeah, I think Lynn also mentioned very important words, which are like inspire you to do some more like that, or inspire you to even open another door to try something different. So I think that's the same question from maybe the other fans or the people who interact with us via Facebook, from Lynn as well. And she also asked what inspired you to write the script and the story. And actually the same question from my side. What particular thematic inspirations that you want to produce, Malu? Director.
Okay. Actually, most of my films, when I do it, I think in a way I'm responding to the previous film that I've done. So I always very consciously try to avoid what I've done before. So my previous film was Akirat. It dealt with Rohingya, it dealt with human trafficking, shot was on handheld. So I was writing this script while I was doing the post-production for Akirat. So I think in my mind, I was like, oh, I don't want to do anything like Akirat again. Because it's so tiring. And I think I wanted, at a different stage of my life, I had a different story to tell. Of course, I wanted to explore more this universal relationship between a family. I have a sister too, but of course, my relationship with my sister is very different from what's portrayed in Malu. My parents are really cool, so it's not autobiographical. People are always like, your parents, like, I have many films which explore like this disconnection between parent and child. But it's just something that I've always wanted to explore, because I feel that many of we are who we are because most of the time because of our upbringing because of what our parents gave us. So that was our so that was why when MayJune approached me to do something together, this was an idea that I wanted to pursue, and it's also based on loosely inspired by a book that I read like many years ago. It's called Grotesque by Kirino Natsuo. So like most of my my works, I'm always influenced by literature because I read books a lot, and I think many of my ideas came from books. So this was structurally, thematically, there are many stuff from the books that end up in this film. So that was inspiration, Mayfen.
Mayfen, you're cute to add.
But for me, always fascinated in family relationship stories. So when the script first came to me, I really fall in love with it. Even I show it to my husband, he said, "Wow, Edmund really can write." So yeah, I really fell in love with the story itself, and I always look for this kind of genre, like say for example, a marriage story. Noah Baumbach's previous work, like The Squid and the Whale. Yes, and also Roma. Roma is one of my favorite stories as well. Favorite films as well, because although they are telling story about the maid, but I see them as a family. So I always wanted to actually look deeper into what happened within the family relationships, and I also want to find the answer for myself as well, because I have a broken. I myself, I think it's not quite. It's more towards a broken family to me myself. So I always wanted to explore more into it, and also this film Malu itself is also telling, it's also exploring a self-identity.
Yes.
As you see, Lan is actually looking for herself in Japan, and I myself, Hope, also is actually finding herself in Japan. So it's more about finding yourself and to not feel ashamed of yourself. Yes. So that is, I think that is what we are trying to tell the audience.
Yeah, I think this is a very strong message from MayJune, and I personally agree with this point very much. So maybe I will give chances to our fans of the movie from Facebook. I noticed one of the questions from Wano Azrik, and he is asking, is Malu your most challenging movie to make? And what is your visual inspiration for this movie? I think this question is similar to another fans whose name is Denise Loka. And he also asked about the onset problem or the difficulties. So maybe you can answer the questions together.
Okay. So I'm gonna do both questions at the same time. Like most of film shoots, filmmaking is actually a very high pressure, high stress job. So I always expect to deal with problems like every day. If things are too smooth, there's something wrong. So in a way I'm pessimistic, but I'm also optimistic because by adopting such a viewpoint, like things don't really surprise me so much. So you can hear from. I'm generally very calm on the set. I don't scream or yell. Usually I'm laughing because because I enjoy the process. And I think that's what we do. We are doing something that we love, and we are working with family. So I always use this word family, not because I'm a Fast and Furious fan, but I feel that the fact that we could work on this film so closely together, like for this amount of time, we are family. So and then so I think that there were some issues that we go through, more like logistic, technical issues. Like maybe a wireless mic, or stuff like that. That's very traumatic for me. But I don't think they weren't that serious. Basically, the whole point is just to be calm and just to deal with whatever issues that come to you. You just need a bit of EQ for that. So I don't think, logistically it's very challenging because it took such a long time to do it, like we had to shoot half a film and then like wait for almost an entire year to continue. So in between the waiting, the revising the script, all these things, that was the difficult part. Physically, mentally, I don't think it was that draining compared to the first few films. I didn't have to go through a jungle and all this stuff, and I didn't. Unlike my first film, Bureau of Exploring Durians, where I had to go through a lot of stuff that I went through as a first-time filmmaker. This, I think, was okay, and I was very blessed to have a really cool, like a Malaysian and Japanese team. So once I did this, I realized that I don't have to carry this burden myself. When you have like cool producers like MayJune and our Japanese producers who actually like shield the creative people and nurture an environment for filmmaking, I think no matter what issue we have to deal with, there's nothing to be afraid of. So that's how I feel about the filmmaking itself. For visual inspiration, me and Kong. I think for me, I went through a lot of Ingmar Bergman films while we were preparing for the film, because Kong himself is an Ingmar Bergman expert. He had written like a master's thesis on Ingmar Bergman, so I think I've seen all of Ingmar Bergman's films. I've known him for more than a decade, and I felt ashamed because at that time I didn't see that many Ingmar Bergman films. So as I prepared for the film, I decided to watch like these Ingmar Bergman films to prepare. Shame, where I got the title for Malu. So there were all these films that Fanny and Alexander, where you can see like Grandma was an inspiration.
Yes.
A lot of things. It was a lot from Ingmar Bergman, which was quite different from my previous films because I didn't think my style was like that. And at the same time, at that time that Kong was going through, visually he wanted to try something different, so he wanted to go with something more like Kilovsky's films, like films from like The Three Colors or Double Life of Veronica or Decalogue. So we had all these like long takes where we would go with a very stylistic blocking, and then we went through all these discussions to design the visuals for the film. Yep. So
that's good. For those who haven't watched this movie and to see whether these visual inspirations are there, go to movie and watch, because this movie is still available at movie. So just go and watch the film. They will get the answers by yourself. So I think we moved toward the end of today's sharing, but before I end, I would like to also get some updates from you guys, because Edmund is busy with maybe another film shooting. I get to know that you're involved with another project, but how about the others? Are you guys involved with other film projects lately? Could you share some of your updates with your audience and your fans?
I start first?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I actually really do looking forward to Edmund's new film because it's again the duos, Edmund and Kong's works. I'm looking forward to, because I think they are good matches, and they both speak in their works very poetically. So I'm very looking forward to it. And also for myself, actually, I am more passionate in filmmaking right now. I want to produce more films despite the pandemic strike. And currently I have an idea in my mind, a story idea, but now I'm still looking for script development. So I hope that the project will fulfill soon. Yes.
Wonderful.
And also my next plan, I'm expecting a baby in March.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. That's my next project. Nursing a child.
Wonderful. How about Lynn? What are you doing now? What's your planning to do?
Well, actually, I have another Chinese movie supposed to come out, supposed to be coming out during the Chinese New Year, but I guess they're going to postpone it to next year due to the pandemic. And I have my own projects as well, the talk show in YouTube, this and that. And yeah, I'm opening up myself for other opportunities in acting. So welcome, whoever is watching.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, whoever that's watching right now, yeah, you're all welcome to come and approach me. But I must say that this movie, Malu, it took lots of effort. The team, the crew, the production, especially the soundtrack as well. I love the soundtrack. And it took a lot of hard work to produce and editing such a beautiful movie. So I wish and I hope Malaysian will spend time to watch this movie. It's free now. You can watch it free online. I hope you support Malu, because for me, this is a very beautiful crafted movie that everyone should have, take this opportunity to watch it.
Yes, wonderful. So, Sherlyn, would you please share your lately works and also planning with your audiences and fans?
其实一样的，其实也是在等着一些好的机会，就是希望说还有机会，可以再拍像马路这样的好作品，然后也希望之后还有机会跟导演还有MayJune还有安琳合作这样子。然后我之后新年过后会有一部电视剧开拍，所以之后会忙拍电视剧，但我也希望说可以除了拍一些自己舒适圈的东西，也可以跳出来拍一些不一样的东西，给自己有不一样的那个进步，这样子，发展空间。
That's wonderful. So all of us still have our clear goals to achieve, and we still have our career to develop. Although the pandemic affects so many things, even including our film sharing sessions, we conduct online, we conduct virtually, but it doesn't stop us to pursue the dream of making film and making more quality content for Malaysian and even worldwide cinema goers. So that's actually the common goal all of us have. So before we end, shall we have maybe a simple task? We just say that go to movie, support Malu together as the end of today's sharing session. Go to movie, go to movie, watch Malu.
Go to movie, watch Malu.
Go to movie, go to Malu. It's like 押韵 or something like that. Go to movie,
watch Malu.
Go to movie,
One, two, three.
Go to movie, watch Malu.
Yay!
Watch Malu.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, our fans and our audiences. It's the end for today's sharing session. But later we will show you guys the trailer of the movie, and don't forget to support the movie by Go to Movie. Thank you very much for the support for the MIFFest 2020, and wish to see you guys once again.
Thank you for the interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
谢谢大家。
谢谢。
他在哪儿？我的过去到哪儿去了？那时候我年轻、快活、聪明。那时候我有梦想，我的思想优美。那时候我的现在和未来闪耀着希望之光。
鳥の声は美しいな。
如果能够成为不被别人害怕的鬼魂，那是多么美好的一件事。お化けみたいに怖がられないっていいね。
兰，你会不会恨我？20年了，我没有去见过你，你会生气吗？
as one. Uniting love is the only way to break the barriers. Come, let us all, we shall merge our souls for tomorrow. We will celebrate the fruits of seeds that we planted yesterday for all.